Hello and welcome to another episode of It Came From the Page. And today we are going to be doing a video all about 23 books for me to challenge myself to read. Oh my god. Well, let's stop. And today we are going to do a little bit of an interesting video in that I've decided to do my own mini challenge of sorts. And these are 23 books that I have to read in 2023. And these are all books that I have owned for over 5 years. So these are going through some of the oldest books as far as the amount of time I've owned them, but haven't read them yet. So we're kind of tracking down and reading some of these books that I've had for ages, but I just haven't read. So these are 23 books. It just happened to work out that way too, by the way, that these are the oldest books, and they are now on my TBR cart, and I must finish them all before the end of 2023. We will see how this goes. So let's just begin. First off, Mortal Kombat, a novel by Jeff Rovin, which is amazing. Jeff Rovin is actually a pretty great author. I read his Return of the Wolfman book, and it was really good. This is a book that's not a novelization. It's an original novel that takes place in the Mortal Kombat universe. It has this amazing step back art. I have owned this for many, many, many years. I'm pretty sure I picked this up when I was in college. So this is most assuredly over 10 years old, and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. And it is a very beautiful, beautiful copy of this. So yeah, I gotta read that. For no other reason than I think that's absolutely ridiculous that it exists. Something that I have also owned for over 10 years. I actually remember where I got this. I bought this at a comic book store in Hamilton, Ontario when I was going to college. They had this little basement section where they had a whole bunch of discount books. So I bought the Arthur C. Clarke novel of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, this is not a novelization. Both it and the Kubrick films are pretty much like made in tandem with each other. And they both came out right around the same time. So I'd be very interested to finally sit down and read this. I don't think I've ever read any Arthur C. Clarke books. So yeah, why not start there? Next up, 100% I bought this in college. This is The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I will probably love this book. I think it's supposed to be like a very depressing book about Loomis the cat. No, about the apocalypse, and I've never actually read any Cormac McCarthy books. I meant to read Blood Meridian during June on the Range, but I just didn't get around to it. So if I like The Road, I'll have to check out Blood Meridian as well. But yeah, I've owned this for over 10 years. A book about the worst movies of all time. So I used to be a big movie buff. I still am. I still watch a lot of movies. I probably watch more movies than the average person, but I am nowhere near to the extent that I was in college and university. I really wanted to be a filmmaker, so I bought a lot of books about film, and this is just about trashy books. I believe I bought this when I was living in Ottawa, so it's not as old as some of the others, so probably going around 5 years, but still, it's old enough. Here's a book that I bought as soon as it came out. This is Super Gods by Grant Morrison. This is a nonfiction book by Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison recently came out as a non-binary author, so they are they, them pronouns. And it is all about comic book superheroes and about their wider cultural impacts and what they mean to society. It just sounds super interesting. Don't chew on that. Hey, why is he chewing on it's Loomis. Loomis was chewing on my bad movies book. Here, this is something that I assuredly think that it's okay for Loomis to chew on. This is Silent Bob Speaks. Writings by Kevin Smith. Yeah, there was a time where I was kind of big into Kevin Smith and I liked Kevin Smith. I don't hate Kevin Smith by any means, but I kind of outgrown him. But it will be interesting to kind of go back to a time where I was more into what he had to say and read some of these. I believe this is all pre-weed as well, because post-weed Kevin Smith is a lot different than him talking before he started smoking up the ganja. So I'm very much looking forward to this and seeing how it is. Wow, Loomis, you are just being the least helpful person in all of existence. Next up, here is just a little comedy book. Wait, what are you biting it for? Hey, stop this. This is How to Live Safely in a Science Fictional Universe by Charles Yu. I bought this around when it came out. And yeah, I just never got to that. It's supposed to be kind of like, oh no! Get down from there! Next up, I used to be one of those people who used to watch a lot of Ingmar Bergman films, and that's how I ended up with Liv Ullmann's Changing, which is an autobiography all about Liv Ullmann, who is in a whole bunch of Ingmar Bergman films. How incredibly pretentious I was in my early 20s, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this. It probably is a fun and interesting book. This is a short story collection called The Mammoth Book of Monsters. I have owned this since I went on vacation with my family in high school. Yeah, this one's probably about 15 years old, maybe even longer. I bought this, I believe we were driving up to Florida, and I believe we stopped in Ohio somewhere at a bookshop, and I bought this being like, I'm going to read this on the trip. I never did. And then I never read it after the trip. And I haven't read it for all this time. So yeah. Come on, me. This looks like it's my jam. Why have I not read that? So I'm very much looking forward to that. Loomis, stop trying to fight with the other cats. Well, Loomis is being a little nightmare today. He's trying to now fight one of my other cats. Loomis, stop that. Oh my goodness. Here's another one from my pretentious period. This is Kurt Vonnegut's Breakfast of Champions. I've actually never read a Kurt Vonnegut book, and I really should. So why not start with one of these? I believe this was probably college as well, so a very old one for sure. This is a weird one. I really wanted to be a filmmaker, like when I was growing up and in college, even though I was going for journalism. So I bought this big thing called Hollywood's Canada, and it's all about the Americanization of our national image. Wow, that sounds like riveting fucking writing, doesn't it? Well, I haven't been able to throw it out or give it away, so clearly I want to read it in some cases, so I'm going to do that. Here's one that I'm really actually looking forward to. This is Fast Forward. Hollywood, the Japanese, and the VCR Wars. I really hope that this isn't kind of racist. I don't really know. I've never heard anything about this specific book. I love the cover. I am a little bit, now that I'm reading the full title, looking at this, like with the rising sun, I am a little bit worried that there might be some, like, Orientalism in this. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's just a compelling history of media formats, but I don't know. When I was growing up, I really liked this author's work on the Artemis Fowl series. So I picked this one up a very long time ago, and this is plugged. I think it's a YA novel about a killer hair plug. Meh, why not? It says lots of bloody fun on the cover, so at least that one is more in character. Some of these are weird. Tales from Development Hell, the greatest movies never made. I started this book, didn't finish it, so what better time to finally dive into this and tear it apart and figure out what are the best movies that were never ever made. Here's a weird one. Moonwalking with Einstein. The Art and Science of Remembering Everything. I mean, I'm interested in the title and this reading. It sounds cool. And hopefully this doesn't suck. But I'll certainly remember if it does. Here's one that I've owned since high school, I believe, and that is Meg, the Meg, by Steve Alten. And yeah, it's 2 words, Jurassic Shark on the back. Yeah, obviously I need to read this. I have watched the movie. I think the movie's quite fun, but I know that the book is way different and it's supposed to be much better. I think Kelsey from Slime and Slashers is doing some shark-related thing next year. So if that is the case, I will have to pick this one up and maybe we can buddy read that together. Up North Again. I bought this one shortly after I left college and I was working at a call center. It was, oh my goodness, it was a bad call center. I hated the job. You were not supposed to read in between calls, but I just didn't listen to that and just read anyways. Like, screw the system. I do what I want. And I was reading this book for a while, and it's just kind of like a bunch of information about the wildlife of Ontario. Probably not interesting for people who don't live in Canada and specifically Ontario, but for me, yeah. Planet Simpson, a book I definitely bought in this. I believe I bought this right after college, and that is all about the Simpsons and examining their cultural impact. I love The Simpsons, one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and has definitely affected me in my sense of comedy and my comedic senses. So yeah, I'd be very interested in reading that. I don't know why I haven't read that one yet. Another very old book that I've had for ages. I believe this was also picked up in college or maybe right after college, and this is The Ultimate Supervillains. And it is a bunch of, it's like a short story collection all about Marvel supervillains. So yeah, that kind of sounds cool. Like it has some cool illustrations in it. And I believe they're all like different artists and different authors. So yeah, I am very much looking forward to checking this one out finally. Here's one that I bought when I was in Florida. I believe I bought this at Disney World's MGM Studios. And for whatever reason, I was going through a bookstore that they had, and I bought this book called Back to Our Future, How the 1980s Explain the World We Live in Now, Our Culture, Our Politics, Our Everything. I hope this is like a critical examination and not like a, wow, I love the 80s, oh, I wish I was in the 80s again. But I won't know until I read it. If it is that kind of book, I just go whoop and throw it into the fires. Next up, this one I don't think I've owned for as long as the others. I believe I bought this about 5 years ago. And this is Console Wars by Blake J. Harris. And it is all about Sega, the video game systems, Sega and Nintendo, and how they duked it out. And what it was like on the cultural, how it affected the cultural zeitgeist of the time. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. Here's one that I bought when I was right before I turned 20. This is Stephen Hawking's Brief History of Time. Yeah, you know, this is probably going to be all over my head, over my dumbass, but hey, I'm going to read it anyways. Brief History of Time. I believe I watched there was a Criterion release of a Stephen Hawking documentary that I think went into a lot of these ideas, and I remember reading it and having a good time. I remember watching that and having a good time with it. So I hope that I like the book. And last but certainly not least, from the brief time in which I wanted to be a cult leader and go off to Guyana to start my own religion, this is The Road to Jonestown, James Jones, and the People's Temple. Obviously, that was a joke. I don't want to start a cult. It's no interest in it. Too much work. No, too much work. I just have cats. I have the cult of cats. But anyways, this is supposed to be really interesting and a very good history of Jim Jones. And I just love the cover. Like, I just love this, like, I've read another Jeff Gwynne story. I believe I read a Bonnie and Clyde book by him earlier this year. So, very much looking forward to this. So yeah, those are a kind of a glimpse in the past of what kind of interests I had at a very specific time in my life. And how these books have lasted this long without being read, I don't know. And I am very much looking forward to kind of dissecting that and kind of exploring all of these various books and seeing what I think about them in the modern day. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I would love to hear what you guys are planning on doing and how you guys are going to challenge yourself in 2023. Thank you, and have a good day. Goodbye.